Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer channel episode. Today is the 8th of May 2020 and it is of course VE Day. People all across Europe are celebrating Victory in Europe Day, although the celebrations are more common here in the UK. It's the 75th anniversary of this occasion. Let me just alter the camera slightly. There we go, because I want you to be able to see this beautiful flag, which I've used on many an occasion before in the past. And of course I have some beautiful, some Union Jack vintage style bunting. And it's hanging from Brenda. Brenda, if you don't know, is the swan, the fake swan, the faux swan that resides in my dining room. So hello and welcome. I'm also wearing today, rather fittingly, the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. So hello and welcome. This is a live stream, so I'm going to be reacting to all of your questions, comments, as many as I possibly can throughout this live stream. So hello and welcome to everybody. We have 49 people who have joined already, and I'm sure that will pick up throughout this chat. So, what's happening today? I have some links to open and read and share with you all. Of course, any links that I do share in the live chat, I will pop in the description once this live chat is over. So, the first thing I've put on my notes to do today is to read how the royal family have reacted, of course, and celebrated VE Day. Now, as we know, most of the world and here in Britain, we are still in lockdown. We still have all the restrictions in place. Today's celebrations are very, very different to what otherwise would have happened. There were going to be big set-piece events attended by mass gatherings. Those, of course, could not happen. They could not take place. So we are celebrating and marking this occasion, this victorious occasion, in a very, very different way to what we would have done. So first of all, I am going to head on over to the royal family Twitter page, and I'm going to read what they put. So they put, today is the 75th anniversary of VE Day, the day when people across the Commonwealth marked the end of the war in Europe with a mixture of jubilation and quiet reflection on the many sacrifices which had been made for peace. And the royal family share a short clip of our present Queen's father, King George VI, making a speech to mark the occasion. Now, he made his speech at 9 p.m. The Queen is going to make, she's going to broadcast a message to the nation at 9 p.m, the exact same time that her father broadcast his message today, but at 9 p.m. So I'm going to be watching that later, and I may even pop on back here to do a quick video about what I thought about, what I think about the Queen's message. There is a longer version of King George VI's speech, which the royal family have put up on YouTube. I will link to that. But later on in this video, I'm going to read his speech in full to you all. Now, Clarence House, representing, of course, the Duke and Duchess, not the Duke and Duchess, well, they are the Duke and Duchess of Cornwall, but the Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall, or as they are otherwise known in Scotland, the Duke and Duchess of Rothesay. They have been marking the occasion, and I've got some notes on that. So I'm going to read you a little bit about the Prince of Wales. He led a national 2-minute silence at 11 p.m. here in the UK. Of course, Camilla and Charles are still isolating in lockdown at Birk Hall on the Balmoral estate in Scotland. So all of this took place from Balmoral, and they led the 2-minute silence from the Balmoral War Memorial, and they both laid a wreath. Now, Camilla was representing the 4 Rifles Regiment, of which she is Colonel-in-Chief. Honorary Colonel-in-Chief of the 4 Rifles, and she was wearing what is known as the 4 Rifles dress. She also teamed that 4 Rifles dress with the 12th Royal Lancers regimental brooch. So when you watch that video that I'm going to post a link to in a moment, or if you're watching it on catch-up, do check out, pay particular attention to the brooch and the ceremonial dress. The Prince of Wales was wearing the Highland day dress, and he was wearing the Stuart kilt with Gordon Highlander's tie, lapel badge. So they both looked really, really smart. In fact, I remember thinking how much of a king and a queen they look. Of course, Prince Charles, next in line to the throne, he is the heir, and Camilla, she looked every inch the queen. I have to say, I really do think the poise, the elegance, it was all there, and she certainly looks to me like a queen. A little bit of information about the bouquet that Camilla laid. It was actually flowers from their garden in Birkhall, spring flowers, which she had handpicked herself. So the bouquet was made up by Camilla herself. Now, they both each hand wrote messages in their bouquets and wreaths to represent their own feelings and thoughts on the occasion. The Prince of Wales's wreath card said, "In everlasting remembrance, Charles," and Camilla's said, "In memory of my darling father and all the officers and men of the 12 Lancers who fought so bravely to give us peace." And that was signed Camilla. And there was also a flypast here in the UK. Now, this was not promoted because usually when we have flyovers flying over London and flying over Buckingham Palace, there's usually mass gatherings. And what the government and organisers of today's flypast did not want was there to be any crowds gathering. So this was unannounced. It was quite a surprise, and I did see it on the news. There is also some clips as well, which I will link to. And it was the Red Arrows, and the Red Arrows flew over London and flew over Buckingham Palace. Of course, there are no royals at the moment currently residing in Buckingham Palace. The Queen is isolating with the Duke of Edinburgh in Windsor. And within the next couple of months, the Queen would typically, at the end of July, she would typically move from all of her engagements in Buckingham Palace and Windsor, and she would start to begin her summer holiday in Scotland. We would have Royal Week, Holyrood Week, which is not going to take place in the way that it presently does. So whether or not the Queen may choose to go to Balmoral early this year remains to be seen. I don't know. I think the Duke of Edinburgh and the Queen are very, very safe within the Windsor Castle confines. I mean, it's a castle. It was designed and it was built, to keep those that we don't want out. And I think that also goes for viruses as well. So whether or not the Queen will decide eventually to move up to Balmoral early and almost to kind of start her summer holidays early, we really don't know. But yeah, I'm going to go to the comments and see what people are saying. I'm going to kind of go all the way up again. Andrew Mundell said, "I quite agree, Camilla is well up to the job." I think Camilla has been really, really, really impeccable. I think she has shown strength and stay, poise, elegance, resilience, all factors and all qualities that you need to be a queen. Elaine said, "My son is head chef on the RAF base where the Red Arrows are based in Lincolnshire." I mean, again, that's a really, really good role to have, supporting that RAF base. Sharona says, love the Union flags. Well, I've got them in my drawer upstairs, and I thought, why not get them out for today? Right, let me just pop over. I'm going to share a link so that you can... I will obviously share it afterwards as well. But this is a link to Charles and Camilla leading the 2-minute silence and then laying their wreaths. So I'm going to copy that in now. And like I said, pay particular attention to Camilla's brooch. Kelly says, a house party. Maybe we should have a... Well, I think I'm definitely going to pop on later on tonight. So after the Queen has finished making her message... Well, I don't think it's a live message. I do believe it's a pre-recorded message, but it's going to be broadcast at 9 p.m. So as soon as that has finished taking place, I will pop on and do, you know, a quick 10 minutes talking about what I think about what she said. Cynthia says, do you think the confinement is good for the Queen? She is still working, but the rest from all her outside engagements might be good for her. The Queen will be busy. She will still be receiving her red boxes, those famous red boxes. They find her wherever she is in the world. The only day that she has off is, I think it was her birthday and possibly Christmas Day. But she receives her boxes and works on her boxes regardless. They will find her wherever she is. I mean, I'm sure that whatever's coming into Windsor Castle will be disinfected and made sure that it's safe for the Queen. But she will still be working. But yeah, if you're talking in terms of rest, I think whenever the Queen does have a prolonged period of rest at Christmas, when she's at Sandringham, or Balmoral during the summer, whenever she returns, she always looks so well over the past couple of years. She's looked really amazing when she's had a period of rest and relaxation. It's never nice to be confined. Any type of confinement is not good. Probably she's feeling a little bit like me in the respect that, you know, we kind of want things to return to normal, but it has to be the right time for things to return to normal. And I think most people have the kind of sense of it might be what we want. We want things to return to normal, but it's probably not the right time yet. So I think we still have more to endure, and that goes the same for the royal family. I would also like to say, on behalf of myself and from a lot of viewers who watch this channel, because I read the comments and a lot of people are appreciating what the royal family do collectively as a firm, as they refer to themselves as, with regards to lifting morale and spirit. It's not always about how much money you raise, although that does help. It's about lifting morale, boosting morale, shining a light on good causes, and like I said, just lifting spirits and getting people through. And that is what the royal family, the monarchy in this country is so good at doing, in inspiring people and giving people that that resolve to just carry on and get through this. And as Dame Vera Lynn said, or sang, we'll meet again, and we will. The Queen echoed that in her message when she addressed the nation at the start of lockdown. We'll meet again, and we most definitely will. Right. Okay, I am going to move on to King George VI's speech. So, I'm going to share a link to it so you can read it yourself. You can also watch it on YouTube on the Royal Family, the official Royal Family page. It's there, but I'm going to read what the Queen's father said on the 8th of May 1945, 75 years ago. So he said, today we give thanks to Almighty God for a great deliverance. Speaking from our empire's oldest capital city, war-battered but never for one moment daunted or dismayed. Speaking from London, I ask you to join with me in that act of thanksgiving. Germany, the enemy who drove all Europe into war, has finally overcome. In the Far East, we have yet to deal with the Japanese, a determined and cruel foe. To this we shall turn with the utmost resolve and with all our resources. But at this hour, when the dreadful shadow of war has passed from our hearths and homes in these islands, we may at last make one pause for thanksgiving, and then turn our thoughts to the tasks all over the world which peace in Europe brings with it. And of course, eventually war in Japan was declared over, and that is why we have VJ Day. He continues, let us remember those who will not come back, their constancy and courage in battle, their sacrifice and endurance in the face of a merciless enemy. Let us remember the men in all the services and the women in all the services who have laid down their lives. We have come to the end of our tribulation, and they are not with us at the moment of our rejoicing. Then let us salute in proud gratitude the great host of the living, who have brought us to victory. I cannot praise them to the measure of each one's service, for in a total war the efforts of all rise to the same noble height, that we are all devoted to the common purpose. Armed and unarmed, men and women, you have fought, striven and endured to your utmost. No one knows that better than I do. And as your king, I thank with a full heart those who bore arms so valiantly on land and sea or in the air, and all civilians who, shouldering their many burdens, have carried them unflinchingly without complaint. With those memories in our minds, let us think what it was that has upheld us through nearly 6 years of suffering and peril. The knowledge that everything was at stake, our freedom, our independence, our very existence as people. But the knowledge also that in defending ourselves, we were defending the liberties of the whole world. That our cause was the cause not only of this nation, not of this empire and commonwealth only, but of every land where freedom is cherished and law and liberty go hand in hand. In the darkest hours, we knew that the enslaved and isolated peoples of Europe looked to us. Their hopes were our hopes. Their confidence confirmed our faith. We knew that if we failed, the last remaining barrier against a worldwide tyranny would have fallen in ruins. But we did not fail. We kept our faith with ourselves and with one another. We kept faith and unity with our great allies. That faith and unity have carried us to victory through dangers which our times seemed overwhelming. So let us resolve to bring to the tasks which lie ahead the same high confidence in our mission. Much hard work awaits us, both in the restoration of our own country after the ravages of war and in helping to restore peace and sanity to a shattered world. This comes upon us at a time when we have all given our best for 5 long years and more. Heart and brain, nerve and muscle have been directed upon the overthrow of Nazi tyranny. Now we turn, fortified by success, to deal with our last remaining foe. The Queen and I know the ordeals which you have endured throughout the Commonwealth and Empire. We are proud to have shared some of these ordeals with you, and we know also that together we shall all face the future with stern resolve and prove our reserves of willpower and vitality are inexhaustible. There is great comfort in the thought that the years of darkness and danger in which the children of our country have grown up and over, and please God forever, we shall have failed, and the blood of our dearest will have flowed in vain, if the victory which they died to win does not lead to a lasting peace founded on justice. Sorry. Doorbell. Founded on justice and established in goodwill, to that then let us turn our thoughts on this day of just triumph and proud sorrow, and then take up our work again, resolved as a people to do nothing unworthy of those who died for us, and to make the world such a world as they have desired for their children and for ours. This is task to which now honour binds us. In the hour of danger we humbly committed our cause into the hand of God, and he has been our strength and shield. Let us thank him for his mercies, and in this hour of victory commit ourselves and our new task to the guidance of that same strong hand. That was an amazing and impactful, empowering, passionate speech from George VI. Let me all know what you thought about that. Again, you can listen to him reading it, which I'm sure, that message would have taken a lot longer to deliver. And just to hear that passion in his voice was truly amazing and outstanding. Yes, I know people saw Matt in the background. The door knocked because we've been expecting a parcel, and it's actually for the cats. So I will be revealing what was collected from the door in Elliot and Matt's British Life, which is my vlog channel. If you do not know, I do have 3 channels here on YouTube. I have this channel, which is Royal Reviewer, where I deal with all of the working royals. of course, in the British royal family. And I have Steps of Sussex, which deals with the life of Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, after they have stepped down from being senior working members of the royal family. And if you want to know why I made that choice to start a separate channel, I made a community post on that, so do go and read the community post on that channel. And I also have a vlog channel, because those of you from a few years ago will remember that I started a weekly vlog, and I used to broadcast it on this channel, and then I thought that it would be a really good fit to start a new channel. So every week on Monday at 7 PM GMT, I produce and premiere a weekly vlog all about my life, behind the scenes, my cats, my garden, life in lockdown, everything that's going on. So do go and check out my vlogs over there. And the parcel that was just collected is something for the cats, which I'm going to open and unbox and hopefully show you them using. Stephanie D. Kelly says, let us not forget. Indeed, I completely agree. Right. Sharona says, what was the brooch above Charles's lapel? It was the Gordon Highlanders tie and lapel badge. So Charles and Camilla did look, I mean, I said it before, I'll say it again, they looked every inch the king and queen. They really, really did. Right, there was one other thing I wanted to read today. There have been a series of events taking place. Now, by the way, a lot of people have decorated their homes like this, their gardens, their streets with the Union flag, to hold socially distanced street parties. So it is a tradition here in the UK to kind of hold street parties when we have commemorations, jubilees, that kind of thing. And I think there would have been, you know, lots of really, really big street parties taking place here in the UK. But because of social distancing and all the confinement that we're having, these parties have still taken place in some streets, but people have set up their own little kind of stations in their front gardens. So things are still happening. We are still exhibiting some of that British resolve that George VI spoke about in his message, which I've just read. And I'm sure the Queen will reference that as well in her broadcast at 9 PM today. So I'm going to read a little bit about what's happened from 8:40 today in the morning until 9 PM when the Queen makes her broadcast. So at 8:40 AM today, billboards at Piccadilly Circus in London screened VE Day advertisements. At 10:10, the world-famous Red Arrows, which I spoke about earlier, flew over London, while RAF Typhoons soared over Edinburgh, Cardiff and Bristol in magnificent displays. 11 AM, the BBC aired the National Remembrance. Prince Charles led a 2-minute silence to mark the anniversary and paid tribute to those who made the ultimate sacrifice. There have been small commemorations in Parliament with speakers of both the Houses of Commons and the Lords offering tributes. They were followed by a wreath-laying service in Westminster Hall, led by the Speaker's chaplain to coincide with the 2-minute silence. Speaker Sir Lindsay Hoyle also read extracts from a speech given by Winston Churchill in the Commons on May the 8th, 1945, in which he announced the surrender of Germany, bringing the Second World War to an end in Europe. At 2:45 to 3:45, the BBC will air, that's upcoming, the announcement of victory alongside a pre-recorded film. The broadcaster will beam Churchill's historic victory speech. At 2:55 to 3 PM, members of the Air Training Corps, Army Cadets, Sea Cadets and Combined Cadet Force will play the last post at the top of the 4 highest peaks in the UK, which are Ben Nevis, Scafell Pike, Mount Snowdon and Slieve Donard. I'd not heard of that one before. At 3 PM, to mark the moment that Churchill announced that the war with Germany was over, thousands of bagpipers from the UK and Denmark to South Africa and the US will play battles over a traditional melody performed at the end of a battle. At the same time, Dame Joan Collins will lead the nation's toast from the balcony of her London home. She will say, "To those who gave so much, we thank you." At 3:10 p.m, the British public are expected to post pictures of their street parties across the UK to the hashtag #StayAtHomeParty, in keeping with lockdown rules. At 6 p.m, Catherine Jenkins, the opera singer, will perform for 30 minutes, that'll be good, to an empty Royal Albert Hall for the first time in the venue's history. She will sing wartime songs by Dame Vera Lynn, including "We'll Meet Again" and "The White Cliffs of Dover." That will be incredibly poignant to an empty Royal Albert Hall. At 6:55, town criers will undertake a special international cry for peace around the world. At 7 p.m, church bells are expected to ring across the country in a rally for peace. The BBC will air a special episode of The One Show, hosted by Alex Jones, which pays special tribute to Britain's Second World War heroes. 7 to 8 p.m, Channel 5 will broadcast The Lost Films, a collection of rarely seen clips from amateur filmmakers capturing the mood in Britain on May the 8th, 1945. That will be really good, almost like a time capsule. 8 p.m. to 8:30, ITV will air Captain Tom, or rather Colonel Tom's, War, during which the beloved 100-year-old NHS fundraiser will share his memories of serving in the Burma campaign. During the programme, he will talk of the brutal fighting. That will be really good as well to hear what he has to say. 8 p.m. to 9:10, the BBC will broadcast the People's Celebration presented by Sophie Roworth. The Royal British Legion and performers, including Catherine Jenkins, Adrian Lester and Anton Dubek, will show thanks to Britain's veterans. Then finally, at 9 p.m, the Queen will address the nation from Windsor Castle. At the same time, her father, George VI, gave a radio address in 1945 to mark the cessation of hostilities in Europe. Her Majesty's address will be followed by a rendition of "We'll Meet Again." So it's a really big, packed day of celebrations here in the UK. There is something for everyone to follow all the way through the day. Many of these things, of course, will end up online, so I'm sure you can follow. If you're watching from outside of the UK, the Queen's message, of course, will be broadcast on Twitter. So if you go to the royal family's Twitter account, at 9 p.m, that will be shown. So you will be able to see it wherever you are in the world. Also, I did hear a rumour today on Breakfast TV that Prince Charles is going to be reading, or releasing him reading, some of his grandfather George VI's diary from the time of VE Day. So I'm looking forward to hearing and seeing that as well. I'm going to go back to the comments and see what people have to say. Oh, I think we have a troll in the room. Let me just, yeah. Let's hide the troll. Yes, an intelligent speech from Her Majesty's father. Yes, it was a really, really amazing speech. Jerry says, "Thanks for the info and speech. You are more than welcome." Persona non grata says, "Happy VE Day from your cousins across the pond." Thank you so, so much. Stephanie DK says, "Wow, the Queen's addresses are raining down." They are indeed. Sharona says, "Couldn't find my Union flag, but I have my England flag flying out of your window." Thank you so much for supporting. And there we go. So, I'm going to leave it here, and I will be back. I will be back just after the Queen has addressed the nation. So come back here on the channel for probably 9:15 here in the UK. So if you've enjoyed today's video, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media, and also hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. Also, please do remember, of course, to subscribe to the channel. So from me and Brenda in Shropshire, mwah, to you all. Oh, we have a Matt as well.
Sorry.
He says sorry. It's fine. And goodbye. Mwah.
Bye.